Good morning, Armor Down. Hope you slept all right. My 5-year-old came into the bed, or called for us about midnight. At midnight, came into the bed, and she just moves, man. She's just like moving and kicking, and I said, Liliana, you have to be still. And she tried to be still, and then you know what she did? She picked up her pillow and she went back to her room by herself. Yes. Like that's like the greatest outcome ever. Man, that was like such a win, because maybe now she'll realize that being by herself in her own bed will be much more enjoyable. So she'll stop coming into our room. But other than that, it's all good. All right, so we're on part 3 of What is Armor Down. We've covered Armor Down as a noun and a verb. Armor Down is a company that has interests in the yogic, meditative, mindful, cannabis, non-pharmaceutical space. We've talked about Armor Down as self-care for warriors and servant leaders. And in particular, warriors and servant leaders. I mean, everyone can learn from Armor Down and can embrace the words and the concept. But in particular, it's useful for the warrior servant leader community, because the warrior servant leader community lives to kind of put the mission first, put others first, and so it's something that you want to practice in order to protect yourself and protect yourself from today's topic, which is what is armor? So what does armor mean? Like what, in the context of to armor down, what's the armor? And I've thought about this a lot, in particular because I carry a lot of armor and I don't really realize it. So I'll just explain real simply about the armor I carry around my dog. So when I was 10 years old, my brother died in a freak drowning accident. It happened like that. In the first half of the day, everything's fine. Second half of the day, the world's over. I created a series of armor, or a fortress really, in order to protect myself from ever being blindsided by something like that ever again. And the way that showed up for me in my life was I was very careful not to get too close to people. And if there was a closeness, a deep closeness, I became very insecure and very just afraid. And that was something that I did to protect myself from the unbearable darkness that showed up at a very young age. Now, remember, your nervous system, right? The thing that keeps all this running and communicating and together, the human experience, it's intelligent. So it's working to protect you automatically. And so it has all kinds of mind, body, spiritual ways to do that. And I created all these different layers of armor, and it played a role in my entire life. Now, I wouldn't take it back, because that's part of why I'm who I am today. But it still shows up, and it shows up with my dog. So my dog does nothing but love me. That's it. That's all he does. He loves me. He supports me. He follows me around. He's always looking for love and affection from me. And I hate it. The more he's loving to me, the more I can't stand him. I mean, he makes sounds that every dog does. But for whatever reason, his sounds make me want to just go nuts. I just get so angry, and I treat him as though he is expendable. I call him meat, kind of like the way I used to call students who I trained to go into the military meat. Just treating them as they're expendable. And so I could be 100 times more loving and sweet to the dog, but instead I mostly just tolerate him. And I have only in the past, I don't know, couple weeks as I've really started to think about for myself, what is armor for me? I've only in the past couple weeks started to really recognize this armor and work at setting it down. And what that means is I'm a little bit more patient with him. I try to talk to him more. I try to open my heart to him more, and I find it very difficult. I find it very difficult. And I notice it with my wife a little bit, that I do that with her too. Like in my thinking, I'll like imagine kind of a separation in order to protect myself from their death, right? And I won't think about this all day, but there are these little patterns, these little habits, these little behaviors that I do throughout the day that I understand why, but I didn't used to. And so now that I see it, I'm starting to making efforts to, let the armor down and really like be more loving. Like I've started to try to talk to Marley and started to call it by its name. I mean, just to say it out loud, it's just ridiculous. But I'm trying to say his name more. I'm trying to call him Meat less. I'm trying to just pet him and touch him and be affectionate with him and not be so dismissive of him. I'm trying to not be so angry when he makes all these sucking, slopping sounds all the time. So I'm working at it, right? I'm trying to armor down. And what that means over time is like I'm literally talking to my central nervous system. And I'm saying like, look, I'm talking to my actions. It's behavior. And I'm slowly kind of unpacking all these layers. So anyway, the only way to get to this place is to kind of have the ability to be aware. And so we practice paying attention with the 4 bells. So we'll finish the little lesson and we'll get to the 4 bells. So start following your cues for comfort. I totally rearranged my my cushion. I took some of the buckwheat out so that it's a little bit softer. I moved my pad, like the pad I keep underneath my, let's see if you can see this pad down here. I moved this forward. So I got the cushion right there. And what you want is you just want comfort here. Yeah, you can see that. You just want comfort there. So follow your cues. And if your body's telling you you could be more comfortable if you did something different, do it. So I just followed first bell right into eyes closed. Immediately the sounds that showed up are birds, space heater. Space heater's back right, birds are front left, outside of the room. Temperature is showing up in my toes. I can feel my left toes against the concrete floor. Feel that. Touch, I can notice the touch of the fabric of my clothing. I can also notice the touch of my body. My body feels puffy, bloated. Kind of a pushing out feeling. Inflamed. Just notice light and shadow behind my eyelids. Taste in the mouth. Nose. No smell. Noticing my ground, what's beneath me. I can feel in crisscross applesauce, I can feel my right heel against my left shin, and I can feel my heartbeat. Pelvis, feel balanced, feel very upright. Core space, as always, got to let that out. Heart space. Throat. Top of the head. Noticing face. Just going to move my eyebrows a little bit, just kind of practice moving them. Practice my eyes a little bit. Just practice moving my eyes, cheeks, and then chin. And let all that settle. Throw a little smile on there. Notice your breathing, notice its location. Notice intensity. Its direction. Its depth. And its size. Now, whatever it's doing, give yourself 3 rounds of full, maxed out inhales and exhales. Feel your body move. What are you grateful for? Is there anyone who you know that's struggling and could use some of your goodwill? Send it to them. Be intentional about the finish. Take 2 full breaths. Second exhale, you're done. All right. Thank you for nurturing your nervous system with me. This is as valuable as it is community building. So thank you for making my practice so meaningful. Your attention and your participation is everything. So thanks. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow.